Have you ever brushed off a small stumble or wave of exhaustion, assuming it's just part of aging? What if those quiet moments of discomfort were actually your body's early warning signs, trying to protect you from something more serious? And what if ignoring these signs could silently take away the independence and joy you've spent a lifetime building? Sometimes it's the subtle shifts, the ones we overlook, that hold the biggest consequences. That faint dizziness, the nagging fatigue, or a small misstep over a rug might not seem urgent at first. But for seniors over 65, these are not just coincidences. They can be your body's way of whispering that something isn't right. If we listen closely, we might catch these signs before they become serious threats to our health, freedom, and happiness. In today's video, we're uncovering 8 dangerous habits that seniors must avoid after 65. These insights aren't just clinical checklists. They come directly from the lived experiences of those who've walked this path and learned the hard way. From symptoms that speak in silence to hazards hiding in plain sight, this video is here to help you or a loved one stay safe, healthy, and empowered. Stay with me until the very end, because there's one simple change you'll discover that could be the key to thriving, not just surviving, through your golden years. This small shift might help you live not only longer, but with more energy, freedom, and fulfillment. Before we begin, I'd truly appreciate it if you liked this video. It helps us share these important lessons with others who need them. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to click that button and turn on the bell so you don't miss future updates. And if you find this content helpful, comment 1 below. If not, comment 0. Your feedback helps us grow and create better videos just for you. Now, let's get started. Ignoring subtle symptoms. The silent cry of your body. Margaret, a vibrant 70-year-old grandmother from Ohio, was the heart of her neighborhood. She baked pies for her neighbors, tended her colorful backyard garden, and kept up with her energetic grandkids. But slowly, she began to notice something had changed. Tasks she once did with ease, like pulling weeds or walking up a flight of stairs, started leaving her winded and drained. She felt a creeping exhaustion that she couldn't quite explain. Occasionally, she grew dizzy when standing too quickly. By evening, her ankles would swell just enough to catch her attention. Still, she shrugged it off. "It's just part of getting older," she told herself. But was it? She kept brushing it off, convincing herself it was just the normal wear and tear of aging. Margaret didn't want to trouble her doctor with what she saw as minor discomforts. Why make a fuss over something so small? But those gentle, persistent signs, fatigue, dizziness, swelling, were her body's quiet cry for help. And when that cry went unheard, the consequences followed. 6 months later, during a routine visit to her primary care physician, Margaret received a diagnosis that turned her world upside down: early-stage heart failure. The news was devastating. Had she spoken up earlier, even the simplest changes, like adjusting her medication, modifying her diet, or making small lifestyle tweaks, could have slowed the disease's progression. She could have preserved her vitality and remained active for many more years. As we grow older, our bodies don't always speak loudly. After 65, the signals of distress become more subtle, more difficult to recognize. Fatigue, shortness of breath, mild swelling in the ankles or hands, even occasional forgetfulness. These symptoms can quietly creep in, often dismissed as just getting older. But according to the National Institute on Aging, these aren't always benign signs of aging. They can be the early red flags of serious health conditions. Congestive heart failure, for example, affects more than 6 million Americans, and seniors are the most vulnerable. Its earliest symptoms, like fatigue and swelling, are frequently mistaken for harmless age-related changes. But waiting too long to take them seriously can mean missing the window for early treatment. Kidney function is another concern. It naturally declines with age, but subtle shifts like puffiness around the eyes, Increased nighttime urination or fluid retention can be warning signs of chronic kidney disease. This condition affects an estimated 37 million adults in the U.S., and many don't know they have it until it reaches advanced stages. The real danger lies in delay. Seniors who ignore these seemingly minor symptoms risk more than just discomfort. They risk permanent damage, diminished independence, and in some cases, premature death. Margaret's story is not unique. Research shows that older adults are about 40% more likely than younger people to minimize or ignore symptoms. Why? Sometimes it's stoicism. Sometimes it's fear. Other times, it's simply a misunderstanding, assuming that these changes are an inevitable part of getting older. But early action can be life-saving. The National Institutes of Health urges regular health screenings for a reason. Catching problems early can lead to more effective treatment and a better quality of life. A simple blood test can detect thyroid issues, which affect roughly 1 in 10 seniors and often present as persistent tiredness or mood shifts. Routine checks of blood pressure and cholesterol can reveal hidden cardiovascular risks, conditions that, if managed early, could prevent heart attacks or strokes. These are still the leading causes of death for people over 65. So, what should you do instead? The most powerful tool you have is proactive health management. Don't wait until something feels serious. Scheduling annual wellness exams is a simple but crucial step that could help you stay ahead of potential health issues and continue enjoying a long, independent life. That's why comprehensive screenings are essential. Not just when something feels wrong, but as a regular part of your health routine. These include vital tests like blood pressure monitoring, cholesterol panels, kidney function tests such as creatinine and eGFR, and a full thyroid panel. Don't wait until the symptoms become unbearable or disrupt your daily life. Report anything unusual, even if it feels minor. Persistent fatigue, swelling in your legs or feet, shortness of breath, memory issues, or even a general feeling of unease are all signals your body may be sending. Every whisper matters. One helpful strategy is to journal your symptoms for 7 to 14 days. Track how often they occur, how long they last, and what may trigger them. For example, felt dizzy after standing, lasted about 10 seconds, happened 3 times this week. These small notes can become powerful tools for your physician, helping them identify patterns and order the right tests, like an echocardiogram to assess heart function or a cognitive screening for memory concerns. If you find yourself feeling hesitant or overwhelmed by the idea of going to the doctor alone, consider inviting a trusted friend or family member to join you. Having someone in your corner can make a big difference when it comes to asking the right questions or advocating for your care. Remember, early intervention can be the deciding factor between managing a condition with medication and facing a more serious outcome, such as surgery, long-term disability, or a diminished quality of life. When you choose to listen to your body's gentle nudges, you're making a powerful investment in your own future, one where you continue to enjoy energy, independence, and the ability to do what you love. Overdoing exercise, when zeal outpaces wisdom. John, a 68-year-old retiree from Colorado, had always embraced an active lifestyle. In his younger years, he ran marathons, trained hard, and pushed his limits with pride. Even into his 60s, he considered himself in excellent shape. But after retiring, he felt the urge to push even harder, to chase that same vitality he had in his 40s. Motivated by the non-stop inspiration from fitness influencers on social media, John joined a gym and crafted a demanding regimen for himself. He dove headfirst into high-intensity workouts, heavy weightlifting sessions, high IT routines, and punishing treadmill runs that left no room for recovery. At first, it felt incredible. The rush of energy, the sense of purpose, the familiar feeling of strength returning. It was intoxicating. But then reality struck. One afternoon, in the middle of a deep squat, he felt a sudden, sharp pain shoot through his right knee. It wasn't the kind of soreness that fades after a few hours. It was different. He limped away from the weights, hoping it was just a minor strain. Yet the pain lingered. Days passed, and it worsened. Finally, an MRI revealed what he dreaded: a torn meniscus. The cartilage in his knee was damaged and would require surgery. Months of physical therapy followed, along with the frustration of being sidelined from the activities he loved. John's story is a painful reminder that enthusiasm must be balanced with wisdom. As we age, the body simply doesn't recover the way it used to. After 65, muscle mass naturally declines in a process known as sarcopenia. Bones become more brittle, making fractures more likely. Joints lose their protective cartilage and become vulnerable to wear and tear. Even tendons and ligaments lose elasticity, increasing the risk of sprains and strains that once might have been shrugged off. These changes aren't about weakness, they're about reality. Understanding them doesn't mean giving up activity. It means moving with intention, adapting wisely, and respecting what your body needs as it ages. High-impact activities, like running on unforgiving pavement, lifting excessively heavy weights, or pushing through aggressive HIIT routines, can quickly become more harmful than helpful. For aging joints, tendons, and bones that are naturally more fragile, these types of movements heighten the risk of serious injuries. The American Heart Association has reported that seniors face a 20% higher likelihood of exercise-related injuries compared to adults under 50. These injuries often include stress fractures, torn ligaments, and damage to joints that may already be showing signs of wear. Beyond orthopedic concerns, intense exercise can place unexpected strain on the cardiovascular system, especially for those with underlying heart conditions that may not yet be diagnosed. A 2021 study published in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that older adults who followed overly intense or inappropriate fitness routines were 30% more likely to require medical care for injuries. These incidents don't just cause physical setbacks, they often sideline seniors for weeks or even months and can deeply impact their sense of confidence and motivation. But John's mistake wasn't that he valued fitness. In fact, physical activity is one of the most powerful tools for aging well. His misstep was failing to adjust his workouts to match his body's changing capacity. After 65, the focus should shift from intensity to sustainability, choosing movements that nourish the body, not deplete it. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, recommends that adults over 65 aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate-intensity aerobic activity each week, along with muscle-strengthening exercises on 2 or more days. However, it's not about chasing numbers or pushing limits. It's about consistency, caution, and choosing activities that promote long-term strength and mobility. Instead of high-impact exercises, consider switching to gentler, joint-friendly alternatives that offer similar health benefits without the associated risks. Swimming and water aerobics, for example, are excellent for cardiovascular endurance and muscle strength, while also reducing pressure on the joints. Tai Chi and yoga help improve balance, flexibility, and core stability, 3 essential pillars in fall prevention, which is especially important given that falls remain a leading cause of injury among seniors. Even brisk walking can be transformative. Just 30 minutes a day, outside in the fresh air or indoors on a treadmill, can elevate your heart health, improve your mood, and boost your energy levels, all without overtaxing your body. So what should you do instead? Start by redefining what fitness means to you. Let go of the idea that only intense workouts deliver results. Instead, think in terms of longevity, function, and balance. Begin by consulting with a healthcare provider or a licensed physical therapist who can evaluate your current fitness level and any pre-existing conditions such as arthritis, high blood pressure, or osteoporosis. A physical therapist can help create a safe, customized plan that integrates cardiovascular movement, gentle strength training, flexibility, and balance work, all in appropriate doses. Try swimming 3 times a week for 30 minutes. or join a beginner Tai Chi or yoga class designed for older adults. If walking is your preferred exercise, aim for a brisk pace on level ground or a treadmill with a slight incline. If you enjoy resistance training, opt for lighter weights with higher repetitions. Focus on maintaining proper form to avoid joint strain or muscle injuries. Incorporate simple balance exercises, such as standing on one leg for 10 seconds or practicing heel-to-toe walking, to reduce your fall risk and build confidence in everyday movements. Always begin your workouts with a proper warm-up. Just 5 to 10 minutes of light movement can prepare your muscles and joints, helping to prevent injury. And just as importantly, cool down afterward to let your body ease back into a resting state. It's not just about comfort, it's about long-term protection. Learn to listen to your body. There's a difference between the good kind of exertion and the kind of pain that signals a problem. If something feels off, stop. Don't push through sharp or unusual pain. Reassess, adjust, and if needed, seek guidance. Heroic bursts of overexertion may look impressive, but they're rarely sustainable. It's consistency that builds strength, mobility, and independence over time, not intensity. John eventually made his way back to the gym, but this time, he was wiser. He traded in heavy weights for more joint-friendly movements like cycling and bodyweight exercises. This new approach still keeps him strong and active, but now it works with his body, not against it. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, I'd love to hear from you. Comment the number 1 below to let me know you're with me. And if you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. Your support allows us to continue bringing you thoughtful, evidence-based content that informs and inspires. Now let's move on. Skipping strength training, the fall that changed everything. At 72, Clara was the definition of independence. She lived alone, comfortably and joyfully, in a home filled with fresh flowers and sunlight. Her days were structured around the little things she loved: tending her garden, preparing nourishing meals, and hosting cozy card nights with her neighbors. She moved with ease, purpose, and pride. But in a single moment, everything changed. One ordinary autumn afternoon, Clara tripped over a loose rug in her living room. What should have been a minor misstep turned catastrophic. She fell hard onto the wooden floor, and the pain in her hip was instant and piercing. The diagnosis came quickly: a fractured hip. What followed was 6 long months of surgery, physical therapy, and a devastating shift in her self-image. Clara, once fearless, began to hesitate when crossing a room. The woman who once danced barefoot through her kitchen now gripped the walls for balance. Fear crept in, and her confidence faded. Her orthopedic surgeon shared a sobering truth. Clara's fall wasn't just bad luck. Years of skipping strength training had left her muscles weakened. Without realizing it, she had lost critical muscle mass over time. The subtle signs were there: her legs feeling heavier, her steps less certain, her balance a bit more wobbly. But like many, she chalked it up to aging, not realizing it was something she could have worked to prevent. According to the National Institute on Aging, muscle mass naturally declines by about 3 to 5% every decade after age 65. This process, known as sarcopenia, chips away at the body's ability to stabilize itself. Weakened muscles mean reduced strength and poorer balance, significantly increasing the risk of falls. And the consequences of falling are often far more serious than we think. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related deaths among older adults. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, reports that more than 36,000 seniors die each year from fall-related injuries. That's not a statistic. It's a wake-up call. Clara's accident wasn't an isolated event. It was a clear sign that her body could no longer support the life she wanted to live, because her foundation had been slowly eroding without her noticing. The impact of Clara's fall didn't end with physical pain. The consequences rippled through every part of her life. Her independence, something she had treasured, was suddenly out of reach. Tasks she once handled with ease now required help from her daughter. The lively card games she used to host so joyfully faded into silence. Her world, once vibrant and full of motion, became smaller. But Clara's recovery was never just about her hip. It became a journey to reclaim her strength, her confidence, and her identity. Her physical therapist introduced her to strength training, a concept Clara had always thought was only for athletes and bodybuilders. At first, she was skeptical. Could lifting light weights or doing simple movements really make a difference at her age? She soon found the answer was yes. Clara began with just 10 minutes each morning. Her routine included chair squats to strengthen her legs, light dumbbell lifts for her arms, and balance exercises like standing on one leg while steadying herself on the kitchen counter. These small, consistent efforts gradually brought back her stability. But more importantly, they restored her self-belief. Slowly but surely, she felt her strength return, and with it, her spirit. Now Clara is back to hosting card nights. Her laughter echoes through the house once again, not just as a sign of recovery, but as a symbol of resilience. So, what can you do instead? To prevent falls and maintain your independence, incorporate strength training into your weekly routine at least twice a week. You don't need a gym membership or fancy equipment. Start with what you have at home. Light weights, even a pair of water bottles, can be effective. Resistance bands or simple body weight exercises can help rebuild the foundation your body relies on. Try chair squats to target your lower body. Wall push-ups are great for building upper body strength. And for balance, practice heel-to-toe walking or stand on one leg for 10 to 20 seconds at a time. These simple movements train your muscles to support you in everyday life, reducing your risk of falling. Balance-focused activities like Tai Chi can also be incredibly beneficial. In fact, studies have shown Tai Chi can reduce fall risk in older adults by as much as 50%. If you're new to exercise or unsure how to begin, it's best to start slowly and seek guidance. A physical therapist or certified trainer experienced in senior fitness can tailor a plan that fits your abilities and goals. What matters most isn't intensity, it's consistency. Clara's daily 10-minute routine proves that small, sustained steps can lead to major transformations. You're not just building muscle, you're reinforcing your body's ability to move freely, safely, and confidently. If you're unsure where to begin, ask your doctor for a referral to a physical therapist. Many community centers also offer classes specifically designed for seniors. Your muscles are your body's armor. Strong muscles mean a steady, resilient foundation. Let's now turn to something just as vital: mental health. Henry began to pull away. He stopped seeing his close friends, let go of the woodworking projects that once brought him pride, and declined invitations to family dinners. His children noticed the changes. The once colorful stories he used to tell faded into silence. When he did speak, his laughter sounded hollow, forced. His bright, expressive eyes now held a distant, quiet sadness. Worried, his children gently encouraged him to seek professional help. Eventually, Henry agreed to see a therapist. The diagnosis came as a surprise: clinical depression. He had never considered that possibility. Like many in his generation, he had assumed his withdrawal was just a natural part of getting older. He didn't recognize it for what it really was. After 65, the emotional weight of life can press heavier than expected. Retirement, the loss of a spouse, declining physical ability, these major transitions can erode one's social circle and sense of identity. The National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, estimates that nearly 20% of seniors face mental health challenges. Depression, anxiety, and even cognitive decline are common, often made worse by prolonged isolation. Yet, despite how widespread these struggles are, stigma often keeps seniors from reaching out. Many, like Henry, were raised to see emotional hardship as something to tough out, not something to treat. This mindset turns treatable conditions into silent burdens, ones that wear down both body and mind. The toll can be immense. Depression doesn't just affect mood, it disrupts sleep, saps energy, and even weakens the immune system. Seniors dealing with chronic loneliness or unresolved grief are more vulnerable to illness. A 2020 study published in The Lancet found that prolonged loneliness increases the risk of premature death by 26%. In Henry's case, his emotional withdrawal wasn't just a temporary sadness, it had become a health crisis. Henry's turning point came when his therapist encouraged him to reconnect with what once brought him joy. He began painting again, a hobby he had shared with his late wife, Margaret. At first, it was bittersweet. Holding a brush brought memories of their time together. But slowly, color returned to his world. He joined an art class for seniors, where the act of creating, blending hues, sketching shapes, painting landscapes, became a healing ritual. In that class, he found more than just artistic expression. He met others who had also experienced loss. Their shared stories of heartache and resilience helped Henry feel less alone. He now attends a monthly grief support group, where he's come to understand that healing doesn't mean letting go of Margaret. It means honoring her by continuing to live fully and openly. Today, his children see the light returning. His stories have life again. His laughter is real. The spark they feared was lost is shining once more. So, what can you do instead? Start by prioritizing mental health with the same care you give to your physical well-being. Stay socially connected, even when it feels difficult. Call a friend once a week. Join a book club or take part in a group hobby like gardening or painting. Volunteer at a local charity or community center. Being of service can give your days renewed meaning. Studies consistently show that social engagement boosts mood, strengthens cognitive function, and reduces the risk of depression. A 2021 study found that seniors with strong social networks have up to a 50% lower risk of developing depression. Human connection isn't just nice to have, it's essential for your emotional and physical health. If you find yourself overwhelmed by grief or persistent loneliness, don't face it alone. Talk to your doctor, a therapist, or a support group. Emotional pain is not a weakness. It's a signal, and responding to it can transform your life. Consider speaking with a therapist. Many professionals today specialize in issues specific to older adults, and thanks to telehealth services, getting support is now easier than ever. You don't need to leave your home to find someone who understands what you're going through. Support groups, whether focused on grief, depression, or general emotional wellness, offer a safe, judgment-free environment where you can share your feelings and connect with others who truly understand. If your doctor recommends medication, such as an antidepressant, don't hesitate to ask questions. Discuss the potential benefits and any risks so you can make an informed choice together. Medication can be an important part of healing, but it should be paired with emotional support and meaningful engagement in life. Reignite your passion by returning to old hobbies or exploring new ones. Creative activities like painting, tending a garden, or learning to play a musical instrument can bring joy and a sense of purpose back into your life. These small acts of self-expression can make a powerful impact on mental and emotional well-being. Henry's story is a powerful reminder that caring for your mind is just as essential as caring for your body. If you or someone you love is struggling, please know that help is available. You can contact the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, helpline at 1-800-950-NAMI, or reach out to your primary care provider for guidance. You're not alone. Your happiness, your peace, your joy, they are all worth fighting for. If you're still watching and finding value in this video, please leave a comment with the number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any future videos. Your support allows us to continue creating meaningful content that informs and uplifts. Let's move forward. Over-relying on medications. The pill trap. Susan, 69, thought she was doing everything right. She followed her doctor's instructions, took her medications every day, and never missed a dose. Each morning, she lined up 7 prescription bottles on her kitchen counter. Pills for high blood pressure, cholesterol, joint pain, insomnia, and more. She trusted her care plan completely, never once questioning the growing list of prescriptions. But over time, something began to change. Susan felt off, mentally foggy, constantly tired, and increasingly unsteady on her feet. She couldn't explain why she felt drained and distracted. It wasn't until a routine checkup that the truth emerged. Her medications, though prescribed with good intentions, were interacting in harmful ways. The very treatments meant to help her were now causing side effects like dizziness, fatigue, and cognitive confusion. Unknowingly, Susan had fallen into a common yet often overlooked health hazard among older adults: the polypharmacy trap. Polypharmacy, defined as taking 5 or more medications regularly, now affects nearly 40% of seniors in the United States, according to the Mayo Clinic. And while medications can absolutely be life-saving, the risks increase dramatically with each new prescription added to the mix. Aging bodies metabolize drugs more slowly due to changes in kidney and liver function. This means medications linger longer in the system, heightening their effects and, in some cases, their danger. Worse still, certain drug combinations can trigger unexpected interactions. These can lead to falls, disorientation, or even life-threatening complications like internal bleeding. In Susan's case, her blood pressure medication clashed with other prescriptions, amplifying her symptoms rather than relieving them. Her pain reliever, combined with her blood pressure medication, was creating a dangerous mix. The dizziness it caused significantly increased her risk of falling, a risk she hadn't even considered. While Susan's trust in her doctor had been genuine, her complete dependence on an ever-growing list of prescriptions, without regular reassessment, came at a cost. She lost mental clarity, physical stability, and a sense of control over her well-being. That wake-up call changed everything. Determined to take back her health, Susan scheduled a thorough medication review with her local pharmacist. Working in close coordination with her physician, they re-evaluated her entire regimen. 2 of her medications were immediately discontinued. 1 was no longer necessary, and the other posed more risks than benefits. A third was replaced with a safer alternative that came with fewer side effects. Alongside this medication audit, Susan embraced small lifestyle adjustments. She began following a heart-healthy diet and practiced gentle yoga each morning to support her blood pressure and ease joint discomfort. Within just a few weeks, the difference was remarkable. Her thinking became clearer, her energy levels surged, and, most importantly, she felt like herself again, confident, capable, and in control. In the end, it wasn't a new pill that restored her balance. It was knowledge. What to do instead? Think of medications as helpful tools, not miracle cures, and take a proactive role in managing them. One of the best defenses against the dangers of polypharmacy is to schedule a medication review at least once a year. Ideally, work with a doctor or pharmacist who specializes in geriatric care and understands the nuances of aging physiology. Make sure to bring an up-to-date list of everything you take, including prescription medications, over-the-counter products, supplements, and vitamins, to every appointment. Ask specific, meaningful questions. Do I still need this medication? Are there less risky alternatives? Could changes in diet, exercise, or weight management reduce my dependence on it? Relying on a single pharmacy to fill all your prescriptions can also help flag possible drug interactions early. And don't ignore symptoms like brain fog, fatigue, or dizziness. While they're often dismissed as normal signs of aging, they could be warning signals of harmful drug effects. Report them as soon as they arise. Susan's experience serves as a powerful reminder. Real empowerment begins with understanding what you're putting into your body. Don't just take pills, take charge. Resources such as the American Geriatric Society's Beers criteria can also help identify medications that may be inappropriate for older adults. Your clarity, energy, and overall vitality depend on staying informed and engaged. Now let's talk about a danger much closer to home, one that often hides in plain sight. Ignoring household hazards, the clutter that betrays. Ed, a 73-year-old retiree, had always considered his den his private retreat. It was his favorite corner of the house, a cozy, nostalgic space packed with decades of memories. Towers of books, stacks of magazines, and old newspapers surrounded him like a fortress. To Ed, this clutter brought comfort. But little did he know, it also posed a serious threat. Some of the clutter in Ed's den had been there for decades. Old mementos, tangled extension cords winding across the floor, and rugs so worn they curled at the corners like pages of a forgotten book. To Ed, this space wasn't chaotic. It was a warm reflection of his life's joys, his love for reading, collecting, and tinkering. But one quiet evening, that familiar comfort turned into a hidden threat. As he made his way across the dimly lit room, his foot caught on a loose cable. Within seconds, he stumbled, crashed into a precarious pile of books, and struck his forehead on the sharp corner of a wooden table. The result? 8 stitches, a long night at the hospital, and a shaken sense of security in his own home. What Ed had always considered a harmless, even endearing mess had quietly evolved into a dangerous environment. It wasn't just clutter anymore. It was a trap. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, nearly half of all falls among seniors are caused by preventable home hazards. These aren't just bumps and bruises. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related deaths and hospitalizations for older adults in the United States, leading to over 3 million ER visits each year. That's not a statistic to take lightly. As we grow older, the risks inside our homes don't always look obvious, but they become more dangerous. Our bodies change in subtle but significant ways. Vision may blur, especially in low lighting. Reflexes slow down, muscles weaken. Even the simple act of navigating a familiar hallway can become treacherous when these changes go unaddressed. Dim lighting can mask hidden dangers. Uneven flooring or a lifted rug corner can trip us up without warning. And the absence of handrails or grab bars in key areas can mean the difference between catching your balance or falling hard. Ed's accident wasn't just bad luck. It was the consequence of a home that no longer matched his physical needs. That room, once his sanctuary, hadn't changed, but his body had. With age, tasks we once did without thinking now require a bit more intention. Reduced depth perception, increased sensitivity to glare, and limited peripheral vision make hazards harder to spot. Conditions like arthritis or peripheral neuropathy diminish balance and mobility, making tripping over a cord far more likely and far more dangerous. Coordination issues, combined with medications that may cause dizziness or fatigue, can silently increase the risk of injury. Ed, like many older adults, never realized how drastically his home environment needed to adapt as his body changed. What was once his safe space, his cherished den, had slowly turned into a danger zone, not because the room itself had changed, but because he hadn't accounted for how the aging process affects movement, balance, and reaction time. The danger crept in quietly, disguised as familiarity. So, what should you do instead? Creating a safer home isn't about giving up comfort. It's about making thoughtful, proactive adjustments that match your current needs. The first step is to declutter with intention. Clear walkways of excess furniture, loose cords, and random stacks of belongings that can quickly become trip hazards. Secure or completely remove any rugs that bunch or curl at the corners, using non-slip backing or strong double-sided tape to keep them flat and steady. Next, focus on visibility. Poor lighting is one of the most overlooked causes of falls. Install bright, motion-activated nightlights in key areas like hallways, bathrooms, and bedrooms to safely guide your path during nighttime movements. In the bathroom, place grab bars near the toilet and inside the shower. These must be properly anchored to support your full weight, not just decorative. If your home has stairs, make sure handrails are installed on both sides. Add high-contrast tape along the edge of each step to help you distinguish levels more clearly. And don't underestimate the importance of general lighting. Replace old, dim bulbs with LED lights that produce at least 800 lumens. Task lighting, such as desk lamps or kitchen under-cabinet lights, can also make everyday activities safer and easier. For a truly tailored approach, consider bringing in an occupational therapist or a certified aging-in-place specialist. They're trained to spot risks you may not even notice and can recommend small changes that make a big difference. Ed took his fall seriously. With his family's support, he began transforming his home. They decluttered his den together, donating old books, recycling yellowing newspapers, and organizing his favorite keepsakes. His frayed rugs were swapped out for flat, non-slip mats, and all exposed cords were safely tucked away. A tall floor lamp brightens the entire room now, and his bathroom features secure grab bars. There's even a sturdy handrail running alongside the staircase. The space that once endangered him has become his sanctuary again, bright, open, and easy to navigate. Ultimately, a safe home is more than a preventative measure. It's a foundation for lasting independence, dignity, and peace of mind. When you take action to adapt your environment, you're choosing to protect your freedom and comfort, ensuring that your home supports you, not trips you up. If you're still watching this video and finding the information helpful, please comment number 3 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't already subscribed, I highly encourage you to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Your continued support helps us create meaningful content that educates, inspires, and empowers. Now, let's continue. 7. Driving beyond limits. The road risk. George, an 80-year-old widower, took great pride in his self-reliance. Nothing symbolized his independence more than his ability to get behind the wheel. His aging sedan had been his faithful companion for decades, carrying him through countless commutes, weekend getaways, and everyday errands. To George, giving up driving was simply not an option. "I've been driving for 60 years without a single ticket," he'd often boast with a mix of pride and defiance. But that confidence was shaken one rainy afternoon. As he approached a familiar intersection, he didn't see the stop sign partially hidden by a drooping tree branch. Suddenly, the blare of a horn and the squeal of brakes pierced the air. George slammed his foot down, just barely avoiding a collision with an oncoming vehicle. Though physically unhurt, he pulled over to the side of the road, his hands trembling and heart racing. For the first time, he wondered if his driving abilities had quietly faded without him realizing it. According to the American Automobile Association, AAA, drivers over the age of 70 experience a significantly higher rate of accidents per mile compared to younger age groups. In 2022 alone, more than 7,000 older adults lost their lives in motor vehicle crashes across the United States, with an additional 200,000 sustaining injuries. These statistics are not just numbers, they are real lives, each with a story like George's. Aging doesn't make someone instantly unfit to drive, but it does change the rules of the road. Reaction times become slower, making it harder to respond quickly to unexpected events like a pedestrian stepping off the curb or another car suddenly braking. Night vision diminishes and peripheral awareness fades, which can make evening drives or navigating complex intersections especially risky. Judging speed or distance becomes more difficult due to reduced depth perception and overall visual clarity. On top of that, many seniors are on medications that affect alertness and coordination. Common prescriptions for high blood pressure, pain, or anxiety may have side effects such as dizziness, drowsiness, or delayed reaction time, each of which can turn a routine drive into a potentially hazardous journey. George's brush with danger was a sobering reminder. The road he had once mastered with ease was no longer as forgiving, and his body's signals, subtle but persistent, were telling him it might be time to rethink his driving habits. Medications he took for blood pressure and pain management further dulled his focus, caused drowsiness, and slowed his reflexes. George's near miss that rainy day wasn't just a one-off scare. It was a flashing red light, a wake-up call that his physical abilities had quietly diminished while his confidence remained unchanged. Like many seniors, George equated driving with freedom, dignity, and the ability to live life on his own terms. To him, handing over the car keys felt like giving up a piece of himself. But continuing to drive when your reflexes, vision, or awareness are no longer sharp enough doesn't just put your own life at risk, it puts others in danger too. Passengers, pedestrians, and fellow drivers share the road with you, and one delayed reaction or missed sign can have devastating consequences. George's pride almost led to tragedy, but his willingness to reflect on the incident gave him an opportunity to find safer paths forward, both literally and figuratively. Recognizing that it may be time to reassess your driving isn't weakness. In fact, it's an act of wisdom and courage, a choice to protect your well-being and the safety of everyone around you. What should you do instead? Start by evaluating your current driving abilities with honesty. Schedule a professional assessment through your state's Department of Motor Vehicles, or work with an occupational therapist who specializes in driver rehabilitation. These professionals will test your vision, reaction time, and decision-making in realistic driving scenarios. If you're still fit to drive, consider strategies to reduce risk. Stick to driving only during daylight hours, avoid heavy traffic areas, and skip driving in poor weather. Make sure your vehicle is equipped with modern safety technologies such as rear-view cameras, blind spot monitors, or automatic emergency braking systems. These can make a world of difference when your senses aren't as sharp as they used to be. For those approaching their driving limits, or already past them, explore reliable alternatives that help you stay mobile and independent. Services like Uber and Lyft provide on-demand rides, while local public transportation or community shuttle programs are budget-friendly and senior-accessible. Don't overlook your support network. Family members, friends, or neighbors are often willing to lend a hand for essential trips, especially if asked directly. And in many communities, nonprofit groups offer transportation services designed specifically for older adults. Planning ahead can make the transition smoother and less intimidating. Begin researching your options early, before driving becomes unsafe, so you can ease into new routines with confidence rather than crisis. George, after reflecting on his near collision, took a DMV evaluation. The results showed what he had feared. His reflexes had slowed, and his night vision was significantly impaired. He made the difficult decision to stop driving at night and avoid unfamiliar routes. In time, he began using a local shuttle to get to the community center and asked his daughter for rides to important appointments. Surprisingly, these changes didn't limit his life, they expanded it. Through new experiences and connections, George rediscovered joy without the wheel in his hands. The stress-free rides gave George something he hadn't expected: time. Time to relax, enjoy a good book, or engage in light conversation with fellow passengers. Gradually, he began to realize that freedom wasn't about having his hands on the steering wheel. Real freedom, he learned, meant staying safe, socially connected, and actively engaged with the world around him. By choosing safety over stubborn pride, George found that he could still live fully and independently, just in a different way. This powerful shift in mindset is something many older adults face. Letting go of driving doesn't mean giving up your life. It can be the very thing that allows you to keep living it well. When we prioritize safety, not only do we protect ourselves, but we also protect the lives of everyone we share the road with. It's a quiet but courageous choice, and one that pays off in peace of mind. If you're still watching and these insights have resonated with you, please comment number 4 below so I know you're still here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Your support truly helps us continue crafting meaningful content that informs and uplifts. Now, let's continue with the next critical warning. Poor nutrition. The hunger you don't feel. Laya, a 67-year-old retiree, had always taken pride in managing her life independently. Living alone in a cozy apartment filled with plants and books, she developed a quiet routine. Each morning, she'd start with a slice of toast slathered in butter and a warm cup of tea. Maybe in the afternoon, she'd nibble on a biscuit or two, and dinner was usually a small bowl of soup. At first, the simplicity seemed comforting, but over time, Laya's appetite began to fade. She assumed it was just part of getting older. "I'm just not as hungry as I used to be," she'd explain with a casual shrug whenever her daughter expressed concern. What she didn't realize was that her gradual weight loss, persistent fatigue, and increasingly loose-fitting clothes were all warning signs. It wasn't until a minor infection sent her to the hospital that the underlying issue became impossible to ignore. The doctors delivered a diagnosis that shocked her. Laya was malnourished. Her voice shook as she tried to process the news. "I thought I was eating enough," she said, confused and embarrassed. But what seemed like enough was actually far from sufficient. Her limited, repetitive meals had left her body depleted of the essential nutrients it needed to function properly. And as surprising as it was to her, Laya's story is far from rare. As we grow older, the risk of poor nutrition doesn't usually arrive with fanfare. It creeps in silently, often going unnoticed until the signs are too significant to ignore. Weakness, fatigue, frailty, or even serious medical complications. According to the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, adults over 65 face unique challenges that make them especially vulnerable to malnutrition. One of the most overlooked shifts is the natural decline in appetite, known as the anorexia of aging. This isn't just about preferences. It's driven by biological changes in hunger-regulating hormones, such as ghrelin and leptin. Food that once brought joy begins to lose its appeal. The senses of taste and smell fade gradually, making even favorite meals seem bland and uninspiring. And when chewing or swallowing becomes difficult, whether from dental issues or conditions like dysphagia, mealtimes can feel more like a frustrating task than a moment of nourishment. Combine that with common barriers like fixed incomes, limited mobility, or social isolation, and it becomes clear why so many older adults unknowingly fall short on proper nutrition. But here's the paradox. While appetite may decline, the body's need for nutrients actually increases with age. The demand for high-quality fuel intensifies, not lessens. Protein, for example, is essential for preserving muscle mass, something that naturally decreases in a process known as sarcopenia. The National Institute on Aging advises that seniors aim to consume between 0.5 to 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight each day. That's even higher than the recommended intake for younger adults, and for good reason. It helps maintain strength, stability, and independence. Calcium and vitamin D also become critical as bones grow thinner and more fragile. According to the National Osteoporosis Foundation, adults over 50 should aim for at least 1,200 milligrams of calcium and 800 to 1,000 IU of vitamin D daily to maintain bone density and reduce fracture risk. Meanwhile, essential nutrients like B vitamins, fiber, and omega-3 fatty acids support everything from energy metabolism and digestion to brain and heart function. When the body doesn't get what it needs, the consequences can multiply quickly. Lower immunity, higher risk of falls, slower healing from wounds, and a faster slide into physical decline. Even cognitive decline can stem from something as silent as poor nutrition. Research estimates show that up to 15% of seniors living independently and nearly half of those in long-term care facilities suffer from some form of malnutrition. What's even more concerning, it often goes unnoticed until a health crisis emerges. For Laya, that hospital visit became her wake-up call. What seemed like a harmless daily habit, toast and tea, maybe a biscuit, was far from harmless. Her meals were seriously lacking in protein, essential vitamins, and minerals her body desperately needed. The infection that landed her in the hospital might have been a simple nuisance for someone younger or well-nourished. But for Laya, with her immune system weakened by months of poor nutrition, it turned into a serious health event. Her doctors explained something most people don't realize. Malnutrition doesn't always mean looking emaciated. It often hides in plain sight, disguised as chronic fatigue, unexpected weight loss, or frequent illnesses that just won't go away. Laya's story is a powerful reminder of how quietly poor nutrition can chip away at health and independence. It's a slow erosion of vitality that leaves seniors increasingly vulnerable to preventable complications. So, what can be done to avoid this downward spiral? The answer lies in intentional nourishment. Restoring or maintaining proper nutrition isn't about eating more, it's about eating smarter. Especially when appetite is low or preparing meals feels overwhelming, the key is to focus on foods that deliver maximum benefits per bite. Think of it as fueling your body with purpose, not just filling your stomach. Start with nutrient-dense foods. Build your meals around items rich in protein and essential nutrients. Lean proteins, such as chicken, fish, eggs, tofu, or legumes, are foundational for preserving muscle strength. Add in a rainbow of colorful fruits and vegetables like spinach, sweet potatoes, berries, and citrus to supply a variety of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that reduce inflammation and strengthen immunity. Don't forget whole grains like quinoa, brown rice, or oats, which provide steady energy and fiber for healthy digestion, and include healthy fats from sources like avocados, olive oil, and nuts to support heart and brain health. For Laya, one small change, adding a hearty lentil soup loaded with carrots and spinach, began to restore both her energy and her spirit. Game changer, delivering a powerful combination of protein, fiber, and essential micronutrients all in one satisfying bowl. Prioritize protein intake consistently throughout the day. According to the National Institute on Aging, seniors should aim for between 0.5 and 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight daily. For someone weighing 150 pounds, that's about 75 to 120 grams of protein, ideally spaced out over several meals. What might that look like? A breakfast of Greek yogurt provides around 20 grams. Add in a grilled chicken breast at lunch for another 30 grams. Dinner could feature a piece of salmon with 25 grams and a side of lentils delivering 15 grams more. This kind of variety doesn't just build strength, it supports healing, immunity, and overall resilience. If chewing or swallowing is a challenge, don't worry. There are still plenty of soft and nourishing options. Scrambled eggs, creamy hummus, and protein-rich smoothies can all help meet those goals. Laya discovered that blending Greek yogurt with a handful of berries and a scoop of protein powder was a simple, tasty way to fuel her body, and it quickly became part of her daily routine. For those who find large meals unappealing, especially with reduced appetite, consider eating smaller, more frequent meals throughout the day. 5 or 6 well-planned portions can feel less daunting and help maintain consistent energy. Snack smart with nutrient-rich choices. Think apple slices with peanut butter, cottage cheese topped with fruit, or a small handful of almonds. Laya found success with pre-portioned containers. Easy, quick, and accessible even on days when her hunger seemed to vanish. Flavor matters too. Many older adults lose interest in food simply because it tastes bland. But healthy food doesn't have to be dull. Use herbs, spices, citrus zest, or a splash of vinegar to liven up your dishes without relying on added salt or sugar. Something as simple as roasting vegetables with rosemary and garlic or stirring turmeric into a warm soup can turn an ordinary meal into something deeply satisfying. Laya's daughter introduced her to a few spice blends, and those once bland meals were suddenly transformed into something she eagerly anticipated. Finally, consider supplements if dietary intake alone doesn't meet your needs. But remember, they should fill in the gaps, not replace real food. Supplements can be a helpful addition when used wisely, but they should never take the place of real, whole foods. A multivitamin specifically formulated for seniors can help fill in basic nutritional gaps. In some cases, healthcare providers may also recommend vitamin D or omega-3 supplements, especially during the winter months or for individuals who don't get regular sun exposure. However, it's important to approach supplements with care. Always consult your doctor before adding anything new, as certain combinations or dosages can lead to unwanted side effects or dangerous interactions with medications. For Leia, her doctor identified a vitamin D deficiency and prescribed a supplement. The difference was noticeable. Her energy improved, and her bones felt less fragile, giving her the boost she didn't know she needed. Beyond nutrition, the act of eating itself can be transformed into something joyful again. Loneliness, especially in later years, often dulls our appetite. So why not bring back the social side of meals? Dining with loved ones, joining a community group, or even inviting a neighbor over for lunch can rekindle the simple pleasure of shared food. Laya began hosting weekly soup nights with her grandchildren, turning dinner into an event filled with laughter and connection. This not only lifted her spirits, but reignited her motivation to prepare more nutritious, satisfying meals. Of course, barriers exist. If chewing or swallowing is painful due to dental issues or conditions like dysphagia, eating can feel more like a task than a treat. But soft and pureed foods, like mashed sweet potatoes, applesauce, or smoothies, can offer nourishment without discomfort. Financial concerns are another hurdle many seniors face. Fortunately, there are solutions. Community programs such as Meals on Wheels, food pantries, or senior-specific grocery discounts can make healthy eating more affordable. Laya's daughter helped her sign up for a local grocery delivery service, ensuring that fresh ingredients were always within reach. No more excuses or empty fridge shelves. Her transformation was inspiring. Once weak and constantly tired, Leia now embraces hearty, colorful meals that fuel her body and uplift her mood. Her favorite dish? A vibrant bowl of minestrone soup packed with beans, leafy greens, and topped with a sprinkle of Parmesan cheese. It's a far cry from the dry toast and tea she once relied on. Her newfound strength even allowed her to return to her garden, a beloved hobby she had once set aside when fatigue took over. Leia's story reminds us that nourishing the body with care, creativity, and connection can restore more than just health. It can bring back joy, independence, and a renewed zest for life. Leia's journey highlights a powerful truth we often overlook. Food truly is medicine. The nutrients we choose to put on our plates each day shape our strength, our energy, and ultimately, the quality of our later years. When seniors prioritize nutrient-dense meals, eat with intention, and take steps to overcome common dietary barriers, they don't just nourish their bodies. They reclaim vitality, independence, and a deeper sense of well-being. Your body deserves care, attention, and nourishment, so don't skip the essential dose it needs each day. And there you have it. 8 silent habits that could be quietly draining your health, vitality, and joy in the golden years. Thankfully, each one comes with clear, simple steps to help you stay strong, independent, and fully engaged in life. Aging doesn't mean letting go of the things you love. It means making wiser choices that help you live better, longer, and with more purpose. I'm Grok, created by XI, and I want to sincerely thank you for spending time with me today. So, what resonated with you the most? What's one thing from this video that you plan to apply in your own life? I'd truly love to know. Please share it in the comments below. Let's inspire each other with stories, small victories, and new beginnings. If this video helped you or sparked new insights, please give it a like, share it with someone you care about, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more guidance on how to stay healthy, strong, and vibrant as you age. Here's to living each moment with grace, purpose, and renewed energy. Wishing you continued health, happiness, and peace. And remember to subscribe to Healthy Aging Blueprint for more empowering content.